Welcome to Live Your Legacy, where every story holds a turning point, and every turning point holds the power of legacy.
Welcome to Live Your Legacy, the conversational podcast where we explore how life's defining moments shape the legacy we leave behind. I'm your host, Patricia D. Freudenberg, also known as Patty from New York. This show is rooted in a simple truth. Grief is not always about death. It's about when sometimes life changes due to losses, detours, new beginnings. And here we speak with entrepreneurs, authors, leaders, and creators who have turned their life-defining moment for work contributions. Because legacy is not only what we leave behind, it's what we are shaping right now through vision, impact, and purpose. And today I'm honored to welcome Brian P. Swift. Come on. Known as the Quad Father, is a motivational speaker, best-selling author, 10 books, nonprofit founder, certified John Maxwell Coach, dedicated helping people rise beyond adversity and live with purpose. Thank you so much for being here. And for those who may be meeting you for the first time, would you take a moment to tell us a little bit more about the work you do and what brought you here today? Brian, over to you, and thank you for joining us today on Live Your Legacy.
Patty, I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me on. My work came out of adversity. When I was 17, I broke my neck playing football. Just at a park with my friends, became a quadriplegic. So you talk about, adversity and life possibly ending. And I was blessed where I had great family support, strong faith, and that really helped me turn it into a new beginning. Now, that doesn't happen overnight, but what does happen is the journey. Because when something happens, when you're stuck, when you hit adversity, there's kind of one question I ask: now what? Because now what brings you to a fork in the road, and anything that happens to you. My dad died. Now what? I broke my neck. Now what? You couldn't get your wife couldn't get pregnant. Now what? You came down with an illness. Now what? And that really brings you to a fork in the road. And I just chose the path that moves you forward. I've been very blessed to have the strength, the fortitude, the support to always move forward. It takes as much energy to move forward as it does to be stuck. And there's two types of pain in the world. There's the pain of being stuck, or there's the pain of moving forward. They both bring pain. Choose your pain. There's a pain with not doing anything, right? And so one path is going to feed you, and one path is going to bleed you. Which one do you want to take? It's like friends and the people you surround yourself. People either feed you or bleed you, and at some point, you've got to make a decision. Do you want the people that feed you, or do you want the people that bleed you? It is that simple. The decision might be hard, but the choice is that simple. So I just chose to move forward in life.
And I love that so let's go back a little bit. Now, we could all agree that hindsight is 2020, right?
Yes.
I believe. Do you agree? Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So with that being said, can you take us back? And I love that you say out loud, what now? I love that what now, right? You say it out loud. So it's like a recognition of the moment, right? Of the what now. And it puts you into that. And I love that you said, like, pick your hard, but let's go back a little bit. With that all being said, can you take us back to the moment where, you can share a pivotal moment that changed the direction of your life? So we know about the accident, but then, you were still young then. So what was that pivotal moment that changed your life or your work or both?
So I come from a very strong family, Irish Catholic. very devout. My mom is the very faith driven. My dad, you were brought up with tough love. So I broke my neck the day after Christmas in 1979. So in December, rolls around. I've only been hurt about a month. Roll into January, and I've only been hurt for about 6 weeks. I'm up at the rehab facility, and I'm turning 18 at the end of the month. 18 was like that pivotal birthday, right? You kind of became the adult. You got the.
I'm an adult.
Yes. You got to go into some bars legally, possibly. It just was a pivotal age. I'm sitting here in the hospital. I can't even feed myself. I've got this big brace screwed into my head, around my neck, and I'm probably not in the best spirits. Probably a little salty, thinking this was not how I envisioned turning 18. And my dad came up to visit. And he walks in, he hangs his overcoat up, comes over to the table. I'm sitting by, and we start talking. I don't remember, just small chat. And after about 10 minutes, he stood up. And he walked over and he got his overcoat, walked over to the table and put it back on. And he looked down at me and said, and this changed everything. He said, if I come up here again and you're not smiling and you're not in good spirits, I won't come up again. I will turn around and leave. Because I'm not coming up here to listen to you whine, and I'm not coming up here to listen to be with you in a bad mood. He said, it is your responsibility to keep this family up. It's your responsibility to keep this family going and to keep this family together. That is your responsibility. He said, as you go, the family.
He just put that on you. He just put that on. He just handed you like a big job, But look, how many years later, and you could still reckon like it was yesterday. Wow, absolutely. Brian. Wow. I'm sorry. I interrupted.
It rings in my ears like it happened yesterday. He said, as you go, this family will go. Took off his coat, sat down. Not another word was said. That moment, as it resonated through the night, really changed how I thought about things. And I was not going to be the reason my family was unhappy. I was not going to be the breakup, because traumatic injuries like that break a lot of families. We were told that by the rehab facility. These things devastate families.
I've seen it myself. I've seen it myself.
These things either bring you together or they break you up.
Yeah, but it's a choice, right? It becomes a choice. Like your father, gave you that choice. And gosh. Okay. I want to ask more about that visitation, but I want to get on to the next question because it might lead to that. What challenge would you say was a blessing in disguise? What challenge was a blessing in disguise? I know there might be a lot, but what comes to mind?
It's an easy one. I wasn't the best student. I didn't work hard in school. Went to a great Catholic high school, St. Lawrence, and got a great education. And my parents, were that typical generation. They were blue collar. They worked, my dad worked. My mom was a homemaker, raised 3 kids, and then worked part-time once we were all in school. I was probably going to go into the trades, honorable profession. Something people are missing today is the fact that, not everybody has to be a college graduate to be successful, not even close. So all of a sudden, I'm not going to go into the trades. I'm a quadriplegic confined to a wheelchair. My only way out is through education. that changed my world. Now I had to go be a student. I had to use my mind in a way different way than I was kind of gearing to. I wasn't planning on going to college. I figured I'd go into the trades, make big money, working hard, which I was used to, and be successful. I was going to be successful no matter what. Doesn't matter how. If you're going to be successful, you're going to find a way or make a way. And so all of a sudden, I had to learn to be a student. And I took that path on. I just chose, you figure it out. Because I was a competitor before I got hurt. When you're a competitor, and you may not think you are, you want to win at everything. I wanted to win at everything. Even if I was doing something with able-bodied, like I just don't like not being one of the better people out there at what I do. I just took that and ran with it in a different direction than my whole life had probably geared me for.
You took it to the next level. Sorry, my internet's getting cut off, and I thought you were complete. And I'm an eager person. If you know me by now, you came a JD. Now, for those who may not know what that means, because I actually looked it up, and I had an idea, but I'm like, wow, you took education to the next level. I don't want to just graze over that. You really mean what you say. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
So I went to junior college. I recommend for parents out there who have kids that, they feel need to go away to college, should go away to college. I'm calling bullshit. Send your kids to a junior college. Education is so expensive. I went to a junior college. After that, I graduated in 2 years with no debt. And then I went on to a 4-year university. That's what I did with my 3 kids. They were not happy with dad because I'm like, you don't have a choice. You're going to a junior college because you're not coming out with mega debt. I am your father. I'm responsible for your future. You can dislike me all you want. I don't give a shit. You will understand in 4 years when you get out of school and don't have debt how smart dad was.
Right.
So started at junior college.
Yeah.
I finished.
You'll be thanking dad, and you'll be thanking dad.
And they did. And 2 years later, I graduated.
So you went there, and
then 2 years later, I graduated from Saint Xavier University. Now, my senior year of college, Saint Xavier was a small Christian college that had a lot of nuns in it. And I had a criminal justice class with this little nun, and she got me in the hall one day and said, Brian, what are you doing after your senior year? Where do you want to work? What do you want to do? And I said, well, I was thinking of an internship here or doing this or that. She goes, no, you need to go to law school. And I looked at her, and she was all of, 5 foot, 60 pounds. And she wore the nun habit. And I go, Sister Dennis, I'm not that smart. Like, I'm first generation college. Law school's like me going to the moon. She goes, after school, come to my office. Well, you didn't say no to a nun. I mean, I'm sorry, you didn't do that. So after class, I went up and saw Sister Dennis. And I went in her room and her office. And she's like, yeah, you know what? You're going to go to law school. The LSAT, which is the entrance exam, is in, July. And I'll get you set up to study. And that's what you need to do. And I'm like, sister, I'm just not like, that's not me. I'm not smart enough. I don't have the money. And she was like, no, it'll all be fine. This is what you need to do. Well, I'm like, I'm not going to argue with her. You don't do that. Right. I mean, and so I was like, okay. And I went home and I told my parents. My parents were like, yeah, I don't know. They were like kind of the same thing. Like, they didn't see me in that road. Well, and about a week later, she calls me back up to her office. She has the study guide. She has the schedule. Here, you got to sign up for the LSAT. Here's your study schedule. Here's the books, the prep books. I'm thinking, I'm like,
little did you know.
So I studied. We just figured, well, what is it going to hurt, right? I don't know. I did good in college.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. So I took the prep test, and yes, I got in 2 different law schools. And I ended up going to law school. And 3.5 years later, I graduated from law school with my JD.
That's great. Well, congratulations, because that's really, really awesome.
Thank
and
you.
Very inspiring how, like, one little decision, like you say, one decision away from changing your life. One decision away from changing your life. Now, with that being also said, who has been the most memorable mentor in your life and why? And I imagine there's a lot, and if you want to talk about all of them, go for it. But who comes to mind? And obviously, you just shared one. But who else comes to mind when we talk about mentors?
My mom. Bar none.
Aw.
My mom and my dad. They were the best examples of parents, of even if they weren't parents, they're amazing examples of what people should be today. My mom is like perfect. My dad, not perfect, but loved me, loved our family, and worked as hard as he could to be a good man, and was an example of a real man. And my mom, there's nobody today that could keep up with my mom. She knew how to do everything. She could cut hair. She could bake. She could open a bakery. She could open a restaurant. She could cook. She could bake. The house was immaculate. You could eat off our floors. I just don't know anybody that has the talents and just she was the first one up. She was the last one to bed. She woke up with a smile. She went to bed with a smile. I don't know how she did it. I do know how. She had amazing faith.
We need to hear that. Could you say it again?
Say
it one more time.
Yeah, she had amazing faith. So did my dad. But my mom, like, there's a glow of wings around my mom. She's 88 today. She's had dementia for about 5 years, and me and my sister take turns watching her, because we will not put her in a home. That is our responsibility, no matter how tough. To send. We did the same with my dad. My dad passed in the house. He didn't want to be in a home.
Okay, a choice that feels right to you, right? A choice that works for your family.
Yes,
it's beautiful.
Yes.
Well, God bless her. Thank you for sharing her and him with us. But go ahead, yeah. And I just want to give a little love here. We got JC Dornick, who we know very well as Master Dragon or Dragonfly's teacher. And what are we talking about? We're talking about a podcasting school called the Dragonfly Podcast Academy. If you want to know about it, well, check out my website, livelegacy.vip, or follow Brian, and he'll share you the invite to come and learn how to be a podcaster and have shows like this, because everybody has something to teach or a gift, and we want to share that with the world. So I just wanted to give a shout out to JC, who's watching. Thank you for your support. But I don't know if you were finished talking about your beautiful mother. And while you were sharing, I was wondering, does she have like a slogan that she said a lot to you? Even if it was like as you're walking out the door, I'm sure there's many.
Well, as you could imagine, there are many, but something that sticks with me, something that I say to myself and have said to myself through the years. If you know about Irish Catholic people, especially moms, They are awesome at that guilt. They don't, so they are awesome.
I didn't know you were going there, but bring it.
They're awesome at driving that Irish Catholic guilt. So they, my parents never, I didn't grow up with parents that swore or anything. My dad could paralyze you with a look. That generation, like if dad just looked over the seat, he didn't reach back. He could do it with his eyes. My mom could do it with 4 words. 4 words, sometimes 5.
Lean in, everybody. Let's hear.
It was either, and this one I say to myself when I get down on myself or when I don't do certain things, you're better than that. It's all she had to say. That hurt.
Ooh.
I use it on my kids.
Ooh.
I've used it when I coached athletes. It doesn't have to be a nasty comment. It was either, Brian, you're better than that, or just simple, you're better than that. That cuts me.
Wow.
That I would rather get punched in the face.
I'm adopting that.
Honestly,
that's good. I'm adopting that.
I would rather get punched in the face by my dad than hear that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a big deal. We got some more love here. I know this lady, Nancy Shapiro. Hey, Nancy, how are you? Thank you for being such a big supporter. We're here with Brian Swift, JD. That's a judicial doctorate, which I love. But we're going to get to some more questions here. And thank you for sharing that. And that I am adopting that. So thank you for that gift. With the next question up, was there a revelation, a lesson, or a personal motto that helped guide your journey? Like, what motto did you go by? Was there a quote? Was there a book? What lessons were in those mottos and revelations? Big question.
Well,
I'll let you gather your thoughts.
I watched my parents and I saw what they did. And I was hoping to be as good as they were at what they did. And I look at my dad, who worked for the Chicago Park District, and I watched a lot of men he worked with. And they're, again, I watched some of them stray as being good husbands, watched them stray from doing their job the right way and making tough decisions. My dad never strayed. My dad was a man of conviction based on what God wanted from all of us. So I started with my parents. Now, not everybody is blessed to have parents that lead by example. And I was blessed to. So I had a high bar to follow as I became a father, a husband, and went into business. And I adopted a few simple rules. This might be one. It's CIA. It's real simple. It's CIA. It stands for commitment. My parents were committed to their family. They were committed to their friends. They were committed to their faith. They were committed to whatever they did. Hard to do for people today. Second one's even tougher. C for commitment. I is for integrity. You can be committed to something, but integrity is doing it the right way when nobody's looking, doing it despite it causing you pain, doing it despite it causing you disfavor with some people, but knowing it was the right thing to do. And you could be committed and have integrity and still be a miserable person. But the last one is attitude. You do it with a good attitude, just like my dad told me when I was 17.
I'm writing these down, by the way.
Commitment, integrity, and attitude. And you do it with the right attitude. Despite, again, it being hard, difficult. Maybe you didn't agree with it. That doesn't mean it's wrong, but you do it with the right attitude. And I've approached, when I was younger, coaching athletes with that CIA mentality. I try to live my life by CIA. It's simple rules. It's not simple to execute them. Life is simple. Life is simple rules. Things are either right or wrong. I didn't grow up in a gray world. And we've turned the world gray to make it easy for people not to have to obey the rules. This world is black and white. We just got too many gray people out there. They need to be put in their place. It's my opinion. So CIA, commitment, integrity, attitude.
Yeah.
That's one of the philosophies.
I like that you brought a little light to that, though, about the gray. You don't get away with it. Don't get away with it. Pick one. If you're going to be bad, own it. Like if you own it. Don't like gray. Yeah, I really like that. See, I wrote it down. I wrote it down. I'm not even kidding. I really, really love it. Thank you. I shouldn't be taking notes while I'm doing an interview, but nonetheless, I really, really love that. And thank you for that. So, Brian, as we move on here, what would you say to your younger self? What advice would you give younger self, Brian?
Wow. Good question. If I look back, despite what I might have done, I'm going to have to go back to, I would tell myself, you're better than that.
Ooh. You are really putting your money where your mouth is. I must say, that's really awesome. That's really, really awesome. Love it. And I'm going to follow up by this one. What wisdom would you want your future self to hold on to?
Continue to live your life, not just by CIA, but also by my 4 F's, which makes making decisions easier, which is, I live by faith. My next one is my importance of family, friends, and the 4th one is fortitude. And try to be a better example of all of those to the people around you.
Fortitude. I don't hear that word very much. Can you tell me a little bit more about what fortitude is to you? I really like that.
Sure.
That's beautiful. I didn't see that one coming either. A lot of surprises today, Brian. Come on.
There's a lot of F's.
Share. It's only fair.
A lot of people want to add a 5th F to that, and I won't say it, but you can imagine. Fortitude is a higher level, an internal level of that commitment, integrity, and attitude when things get tough. Fortitude is grinding through. Fortitude is what I imagine the good Lord had to go through when they were persecuting him. He rested on the belief in his Father that there was a reason for it, even though he might not have been sure of it. But there's a reason for it, and there's a reason that things happen that we don't always know. And that's when your faith and fortitude come in to get through it while still being true to the how you live with commitment, integrity, and attitude. It's having a gritty mindset. It's having a gritty heart set. It's leading by example. So fortitude is that gritty desire to move forward despite whatever that is. It's a tenacity, a form of tenacity. And it's what I've had to use being a quadriplegic to get through many days. And not just get through them, but get through them smiling. Because I can't let my family, I'm not going to be a negative person around my family and friends. I owe it to the disabled community, and I get a lot of negative pushback because I don't whine and bitch about the disabled world I live in. I could talk about the inaccessibility, the unfairness out there. I don't. Why? Because nobody said life was fair. Nobody said life was easy. Did anybody tell you life was going to be fair and easy? No.
Nope.
Suck it
No,
up,
sir.
Buttercup.
No, sir.
Don't know what to tell you.
And you could say it with a smile. I like that. Like your father taught you well. When you're explaining fortitude, what comes to mind is like a strong foundation. Strong foundation. Another F word. But when you were summarizing, I'm like, that's a strong foundation. And I really like that. It happens to be another F word. So Brian, we're coming closer to the end here. But we have a couple more questions. So stay with us. Stay with me. If you could do it all again, would you change anything? Or did every part in your journey have a purpose?
Every part had a purpose. I've been asked, if you could go back and wipe out 45 years of being in a wheelchair to walk again, would you? No way. I've been so blessed in so many ways. I've got 3 amazing kids. I've got amazing parents. I've got amazing friends. I've had an amazing journey. I've got an amazing wife that I've been married to for 36 years. No.
God bless. God bless. Love that. Love that. Divinely made. I absolutely love that. So we got a couple more. What is something about your journey that most people would be surprised to learn?
Oh, wow. Surprised.
Or are you working on something that nobody, yes. Or are you working on something that, you might want to share now?
Well, I think people were surprised.
Let's go a little deeper with Brian here.
I think people were surprised that I wrote books. And as time's gone on, people are surprised of how much I talk about faith and how faith-driven I am. Because it wasn't something, I think people's faith got put in the closet. You were afraid to talk about faith in God. And I think people are surprised how faith-driven I am and how much I believe in this divine direction that we've all been sent on. So I think that surprised people, my faith, how faithful and divine driven I am.
Wow. I was a little surprised too. I don't know what I was expecting, but it was a surprise. And it was a really pleasant surprise. Brian, what do you call it? The money bag question. What does legacy mean to you?
Well, the interesting thing is, I think when people think about legacy, they think about what have I left, right? What am I leaving behind?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Legacy is not, to me, what you leave behind. Legacy, have you ever heard people talk about the dash?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the dash is?
I want you to talk about it though.
Okay. So the dash is, yes, the dash is that little line between the day you were born, 19, whatever it is, 2000, whatever, and the day you die. To me, legacy is born in that dash.
Ooh, I never heard it said that way.
Think about this. I could have grown up being an SOB. For some of you that don't know what that means, it's son of a bitch. I could have grown up being a son of a bitch to almost everybody and left millions of dollars as my legacy to my family. Do you think they would have rather had a nicer, friendlier, great relationship person for 50, 60 years or that money at the end. So I don't view legacy as what you left behind. To me, legacy, it's part of it, but legacy is what you did during that dash.
I love that. I love what you said. I mean, it was so beautiful. I don't even want to mess it up, but that's where legacy is born. That's where just absolutely beautiful. I never heard it put that way before. And I've heard a lot of ways it put, but not that way. So you're full of surprises today, and I really thank you. I want to share with the viewers where we could find you. Where here you are on Instagram, the Quad Father. I love that, the Quad Father. I mean, it's so great. It's so great. I also want to share with the viewers your website. Your website's pretty awesome, and you're doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Where would you say the viewers will get their most bang for their time and money? What books are you recommending? What podcasts are you doing? Tell us a little bit more for people who are really liking this interview.
Thank you. So I do have a podcast called Breaking Barriers, driven by SOAR. So Breaking Barriers, it's new. I'm going to have a lot of different guests on there, from people like David Meltzer to James Orsini, and then caregivers, I should say, caregivers, and everyday people that just have struggles, but have found a way to live a happy life, a thriving life. So go there, and that's where you'll get to hear me talk to others. And then, most of what I post on Facebook or on my Instagram, it's motivational, it's inspirational, it's positive. And then my coaching kind of centers around John Maxwell. So we want to read a book. My first book is Up. Getting Up is the Key to Life. I did write a book called The Quad Father, right there. And that's Developing True Grit. That one is going to be that one I'm working on, and that's going to be re-released. Way better version of it. But I'm an avid reader. You can see behind me some of my books, I think, that are up here. And I didn't know I'd be writing books. I wanted to write one 13 years ago, and I did that. But
10 books later,
it's released something in me.
Wow. And that also is a legacy, because it will keep on teaching. It will keep on teaching. That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you for that. Thank you for being here today. Really appreciate your time, your talent, and your treasure. Brian, would you like to give us some closing remarks before we get on out of here?
Sure. So the first thing I would say for a lot of us out there is you're either humble or you're about to be humbled in life. The minute you think that you have it figured out and you're going to kind of tell God your direction, you kind of get humbled. And then I would just tell you, be kind to your future self.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. I'm going to remember that. Hopefully you'll come back to visit. And nonetheless,
Absolutely.
We share a lot of similar communities. And it's been great meeting you in person at the Creative Con in Chicago. And hopefully we'll see each other again next year. Thank you so much for everybody joining us and supporting the show. This is Brian Swift. Check him out. He's also on our website, livelegacy.vip, for vision, impact, and purpose. All his social media platforms are on there. If you want to go check it out, I encourage you to go there. Again, my name is Patty Freudenberg, and I am your host today. And with that being said, I am ending the show. Thank you so much again. Mwah.
And every turning point holds the power of legacy. Every step, every scar, every choice we make leaves our mark that time won't